Welcome back to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and it's good to be back. It's the late show of the Homestead Network. And we are on the air, so got a whole stack of stuff for you tonight to talk about and go through. I seriously doubt we're going to get through all of it tonight. Got a great amount of things to get through. I have a t-shirt giveaway we're doing tonight too, so excited about that. It's going to be another trivia question, so get your Google fingers ready. We'll be putting that out here in a little bit. Let's see. HomesteadNetwork.com. If you're interested in more Homestead podcasts like this one, you can go to thehomesteadnetwork.com and go to the show times and find all kinds of other homesteads where you can go to their channels, watch their podcast, and go check out what they're doing and see some of the amazing videos they put out on their homesteads, you know, how they raise animals, livestock, gardens, you name it. It's all out there. And so check that out, thehomesteadnetwork.com. And listen, guys, if you like listening to these podcasts that we do every single week, you can go to your favorite Chrome browser, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and download the YouTube MP3 downloader. There's lots of different ones out there. You just find one you want to use, download it, and then you can download these videos on YouTube as a podcast MP3 format to listen in your car or while you're jogging, while you're running. You know, if you're exercising, you know, running. I told myself after I got out of the Army, I'm not running anymore unless something's chasing me. But if you do that kind of thing, you know, that's how you can download our show in MP3 format and listen to us that way. So Jamie's with me as always. We got our decaf going. What did we do this week?
What did we do this week? What did I do this week?
She's looking at my notes. Don't look at my notes. What did you do this week?
Gosh, I did so much writing. We're just really making a push.
Yeah, we're trying to get a proposal done for a book for our agent in New York. I'm trying to get that finished this week. I'm going to really knuckle down and get my part finished. Yeah. It's just the proposal, folks. It's not the whole book. But there'll be more coming out on that as time goes on. Can't really talk about it a lot right now, but, you know, at some point.
Well, you asked me what I was doing.
Well,
and that
really did take up a lot of your week.
That was most of my week, other than homeschooling the boys and doing, you know, just the stuff that I absolutely necessary to do to keep up the house.
Right. So I worked on the solar kiln some more this week, and we're just about finished. I'm going to start putting the roof on hopefully tomorrow, if all goes well. Our little Toyota truck broke down this week. I have a guy, I put an ad out on Craigslist because I wanted to see if I could find someone local to work on it, and I don't really drive it to town. It's a good half hour to town, and that little Toyota may just not make it to town. It needs some TLC. I think there's a gasket that's blown out. It's leaking oil everywhere, and I don't think it's anything too serious, but it just needs some TLC. It needs somebody to come out and look at it. And I've been doing most of the work on that truck over the last 4 years, replacing fuel pumps, master slave cylinders, the clutch cylinder, the new brake pads. I mean, I do most of the work on that truck, you know, but I just don't have the time right now. I need someone to come out and look at that, and who knows more than I do, see if this is a carb issue. I'm not an expert on carbs, and so I need somebody to come out and look at this. So somebody's coming out, put an ad on Craigslist, and somebody responded. Seems like a nice guy, and so he's coming out this week. We're going to see what we can do to get that thing back up and running. It is running now. It'll move. It's just not sounding all that healthy. Tim is busy working on cedar cabinets for the outdoor kitchen. They're looking really good.
They're actually the cupboard doors. He's made the cabinets already.
Oh, yeah, the cabinets are made. It's the doors.
The doors, yeah.
So they're cedar. It's the cedar we milled here on the property from the sawmill. And he planed them down, and now he's putting a finish on them. Really nice finish.
They're so beautiful.
Yeah, we're gonna do a video this week on him working on those cedar cabinet doors.
I'm really, really excited because I actually haven't had much chance to get the outdoor kitchen set up to actually use full time, because he got it done pretty much at the end of canning season last year, and then it started to cool off. So this year I'm planning on using it more, and he's gonna get the doors on the cupboards, and so once that's done, I'll be able to organize everything I need out there.
Yeah, it's gonna look really nice. Let's see. I put down straw in the garden. I worked some more on the garden. I got a bunch more cardboard in this week from a local recycle center. Some really big pieces, and I put that down, added more straw to the garden, because I really want to keep the weeds down this year and make it look really organized and amazing out there. So I'm working really hard on getting the garden done these next couple weeks before spring is upon us. And so it looks like it's coming really quickly. We have peach trees blooming in the garden. Our peach tree out there is blooming. It put out fruit last year. It's got a couple more years before we can really eat on it, because if you know it's good for you, you'll take the fruit and you'll pick it off and throw it to the ground to put all the energy of that tree into the growth of the roots and the growth of the tree itself. And so that's what we've been doing. And so it's got a couple more years, but there's blooms on there. And so that kind of worried me. We went last year. We did a video on it on the season, going to the peach picking paradise to pick peaches. And we harvested a bunch of peaches. And I think two full bushels.
2 bushels, yeah.
And brought them home, canned them, made peach wine, which people got to taste test here on the homestead. It was delicious.
That was the best wine we ever made.
Yeah, best wine we've ever made. And we put up tons of jam and lots of peaches. And so I called them. Or no, I sent them a message on Facebook, the Peach Pickin' Paradise. And I asked them, are you worried about the temperatures? Because last night it got down to 20, maybe 19 here on the mountain.
Yeah.
And they said that they've been in years past full bloom in February when this has happened, and they had a pretty good harvest still. So I'm hoping they're going to get peaches, because until our trees, get to an age where they actually produce, that's our only.
Yeah, peaches are my favorite fruit. You know that.
Yeah. And
I look forward to those fresh peaches every year. Like, there's nothing like that.
There are people out there, apples, Washington, go in Washington. There's places up north that grow apples, places that are famous for apples. But see, people have tried to grow apples here. There have been vast orchards here. But eventually they all succumb to disease. They all succumb to an insect, or they all succumb to something kills the apple trees here. You're just not going to have apple trees for any, long time, certain time of generations. You have cedar here that's really, it prevails, the whole cedar rust and it really prevails here. So there's all kinds of things that attack the apple trees, even though people continue to try to grow them, and they use chemicals and soaps and all kinds of stuff to try to diminish the effects of the things that would harm those apple trees. Peaches do really good here. Peaches do good. Pecans do good. I mean, there's certain things, and certain, blackberries are a fruit that does really exceptionally well here. But apples and some of these pears do well here too. But apples.
Peaches and pears are amazing.
Yeah.
I love them.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens with the blooms for the peaches and at the Peach Pickin' Paradise. So some of you guys have heard me talk about Nixol in the past, and I contacted the Nixol company from Nixon, Missouri this last week, and I saw some of their videos when it comes to livestock treatment. Some of you guys, I have a neighbor who has been doing battle with mastitis with his milk cow a couple of times this year. And I think I have found how to beat that, and it's the Nixol. And so I'm not going to get into it a lot right now, but folks, I'm telling you guys, if you want a miracle on your homestead when it comes to your health, if you want something that'll kill any virus and bacteria known to man, and have it be not a harsh chemical, Nixol.com. I'm just saying, Nixall.com. I have been put in contact with the company. I talked to them on the phone this last week. I've talked to one of their administrators at the company. I'm going to be doing a tour of their offices at some point. I've decided I'm going to drive up there. We're going to talk, or they may come to here. They may come to our farm, or we may go to one of their farms. But we're going to talk some more about Nixol. Folks, I know how important it is for people to have healthy families and healthy livestock. And, I've always wanted to try to, that's one of the shortcomings people had, 100 years ago was health. People didn't live very long. If you got the right flu, you were dead. You were a goner. And there are things today we're discovering. I like the modern homesteading, ideas that are out there today for better living for homesteaders who still want to grow healthy heirloom natural crops, who want to grow livestock that hasn't been commercially altered, and want to grow good wholesome things on their farms, but they want to avoid all of the medicines and the chemicals that the commercial industry is using today. And so Nixol, I'm really excited about this, and we're going to talk more about it in the future. I have a couple other things to talk about. See, so Big Bear was having issues with his internet before the Deep South show. And I sent him an email with, I think it's called 4gantennashop.com. So it's called 4gas, 4gantennashop.com. And guys, if you live, and we're not one of these people, and this is not a paid advertisement or anything, but if you're one of these people who have a cell tower near you and you're in rural America and you don't have high-speed internet, or the DSL is not that fast, or the cable internet company sucks, if you want something that's going to be reliable, they have now what's called high-gain antennas that work off those cell towers. The nearest cell tower to our homestead is 10 miles away. 10 miles. So today, if you can go to one of these companies now, and I just mentioned the 4G Antenna Shop because that's what somebody else referred to me, and I wish I could do business with them, but they'll set you up a data plan like your cell phone where YouTube doesn't count towards your data plan, or Netflix doesn't count towards your data plan, and your data plan only works for like email and surfing, but they give you free YouTube and free Netflix, so you don't have to, so you never run out of your data plan. But they give you like a 300 gig or 100 gig data plan for about as much as you're paying for DSL or cable. But there's an upfront equipment cost for the antenna you have to buy, but it's way faster than satellite, way faster than DSL, and way faster than cable. So, guys, I know that's a big thing for folks, for you homesteaders, rural guys like us. We can't do it, but I know a lot of you guys out there who complain about your internet. Look at the high gain antenna technology that's coming out today. There's some really cool stuff on the horizon for those of us who are out in the sticks. Because, man, I know one of the biggest things we complain about is the internet. So I'm just throwing that out there. And Big Bear, I just put up a really cool picture of a new snare on our Facebook, American Homestead Facebook page. So check that out. If you want to see a power snare for trapping, I just put up a new video on our Facebook, American Homestead Facebook page of a really cool snare that a local friend of ours made. Some other news real quick before we get into the meat of the show. The Homestead Conference has been canceled. The one we were going to be going to, Go for Green Living, they canceled it. So we're not going to that anymore. Very disappointed that we couldn't meet some of you guys. I know some of you guys were planning on wanting to meet us, and we were excited about meeting you. I guess there's some issues with licensing and permitting by the city government. Isn't that always the case? And so they're canceling it until next year. They're going to try to reschedule. But as far as I know, the Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference is still going on. We're not going to that one, but I know a lot of people are. So if you're interested in getting to meet some really cool homesteads, you can go to, I think they have an Eventbrite page, or just Google Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference and find the information on that. But the homesteading conference for Go for Green Living has been canceled, and we'll just have to look forward to that next time. So let's see. We want to do. I guess we have to do the trivia question before we talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna do a trivia question, and the trivia question, it's gonna be based, because I know all you guys who do trivia out there, you just Google it and you're gonna get the answer, and then you're gonna post it. So whoever can come up with the right answer first, it might be good just to guess. Maybe it'll be a good guess. that you'll get it. But I'll state the question, and whoever's the first person to put the right answer on the screen. Let me expand my chat window so I can make sure I see it, because they're going to be coming in fast and furious. Okay, so the trivia question is, what is the most consumed fresh fruit in the United States? What is the most consumed fresh fruit in the United States? Again, what is the most consumed fresh fruit in the United States? First one to post it wins. Who's it going to be?
I'm not good at trivia either.
Bob Homestead said that, yeah. Okay, come on, we're waiting. Apple, wrong answer. Apples, wrong answer. Banana, None business.
None of your business. Okay, now it's coming. Okay,
it's coming fast.
Well, none of your
None of your business. Just want a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So, none of your business.
None of your business. What?
None of your business. Business.
It's business.
Business. None of your business. Folks, you guys who said apples, you are losers. It is banana. Banana. Banana is the number one consumed fresh fruit in the United States. Apples is number 2 for fresh fruit consumed in the United States. And actually, let's just go down. Well, first off, none of your business. You need to send me an email so I can send you a T-shirt. You won the Homestead T-shirt. It's called the American Homestead T-shirt. You can find them for sale on our website. It says, "I'd rather be on the homestead." None of your business. I hope you'll send me your address so I can send you a T-shirt. So what you need to do is go to the YouTube, our YouTube page on YouTube here, an American Homestead's YouTube page, and send me a message from that page. There should be a place, I think under the About or whatever, that says send me a message. Send us a message, and you can do that, and then I'll send me your address so I can get that to you. But it is banana, and so it's kind of weird. If you go to the postings on here for the most consumed fruits in the United States, and there's conflicting information. So if it's available fresh, like you're actually holding the fruit in your hand, banana is the number one consumed fruit in the United States. Now, if it's available total, like availability for the fruit, I mean in any form, it's actually oranges that's number 1 in the United States.
Which wins because of orange juice.
Orange juice, because you go to your supermarket and there's just rows and rows and rows of orange juice that you can buy at their supermarket. And the frozen section has frozen concentrate orange juice. So orange juice wins out when it comes to fruit in any form. I believe apples wins out when it comes to where was that at? There was something that apples wins out on.
Which has got to be because of applesauce.
Yeah. But apples is number 2, basically, and the average amount of bananas the average American consumes is 25 pounds. 25 pounds of banana. I mean, we consume that, I think, a year.
Maybe not that much. We don't even buy bananas every week.
I bought them last week.
Yeah, but we won't get them every week. Maybe once or twice a month we'll get a bunch of bananas.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to weigh them next year.
I only said that I thought it was bananas because I just have this image of the normal average American family in my head with kids, and that would be what they eat. Is if they eat fruit at all, it would be a banana. It would be one of those packs of pre-made applesauce, in the individual cups where they add corn syrup and all the flavoring, and a glass of orange juice.
Yeah.
That's my idea of what a typical average American family
kid would
eat.
The average American consumes about 16 pounds of apples per year, compared to 25 of banana.
Yeah.
But you said it's kids. I mean, kids eat a lot of bananas.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, it's bananas. So that leads us to introduce your book here that you have.
Well, I've been doing a lot of, well, I mean, you guys know I'm a homeschool mom, so we've been getting into American history a lot, which is really cool because I have to be honest, I kind of sucked at history when I was a kid. Not that I got really bad grades because, I was blessed with a good memory and I could memorize a lot of information quickly and I could take the test. I was always a good test taker. And so I always did really well in school, but I couldn't retain the information. And I don't think that I ever had a good teacher who put it in a frame of reference that I could understand. Anyway, now that we are homesteading, it is completely different for me. Like, I have a frame of reference now. Like, I can read through these history stories and really think, oh yeah, well, they felt that way because, or whatever. So with my kids, what I try to do when we're studying history is actually read them true stories, not just information out of a textbook, but true stories, because those are stories that they can relate to. And when it's in a story context, I have found that really helps children to retain the information because they remember a story. Simple as that. So anyway, I have this book called The American Story, and it's basically American history told in story form.
If you're interested, it's written by Jennifer Armstrong.
And I bought this book on Amazon used books for $5, I think. I paid $4 shipping, and the book itself cost $1.
It's worth it. Well worth it.
So, and it's a really beautiful hardback book. So I buy a lot of books on used Amazon, and basically $4 shipping and whatever the used store is charging for the book. And usually you can get a book for about $5. So anyway, so The American Story by Jennifer Armstrong, and it has 100 true tales from American history. And my boys love this because, like I said, history is told in story form. So I'm going to read this story about...
It's short. It's really good.
I thought it was really interesting because, I mean, it's something we can all relate to, bananas. Okay, so, and this takes place in 1804. New York City had come a long way in its nearly 200 years. For a year, it had even been the capital of the new United States. But really, who needed a president in town when there was so much business to conduct? New York had become the greatest seaport in the country. If you went by the value of everything going in and out of its massive, bustling harbor. Virginia tobacco came in, Chinese tea came in, French porcelain, English furniture, Canary wine, New Hampshire lumber, Ceylon spices, Pennsylvania iron, food, raw materials, finished products. In short, everything a world city could possibly need came into New York's harbor in 1804. But possibly the most unusual thing brought into the harbor in 1804 was a shipment of bananas from Cuba. John Chester, a captain of the schooner Reynard, had picked up the fruit in the Caribbean and brought it north on speculation. Such tender fruit didn't travel well, being subject to bruises and changes of temperature, and who among the dames and dons of old New York knew what the crazy things were anyway? Sailors knew bananas, of course, having put in at ports throughout the tropics. But in 1804, the average American hadn't the first idea what to do with one. Cook it, peel it, give it to the cows. The bananas rotted, uneaten. The next time bananas made an appearance was in 1830, so that's now 26 years later. The next time bananas made an appearance was in 1830, and pushcart vendors at the docks bought the ripening fruit to sell that very day before it spoiled. As the decades wore on, more and more people were introduced to the banana. But for a while, it was so exotic that it was reserved for special occasions such as weddings, banquets, and holiday feasts. In 1876, bananas were sold at the Centennial Expedition in Philadelphia for a princely 10 cents each. By the turn of the century, tropical fruits were so popular that the country was willing to go to war to protect its agricultural business interests in the Caribbean. By 1905, a mere 101 years after its introduction to the United States,
The banana was so popular and so easily available that it was known as the poor man's fruit. Today, it is the most widely eaten fruit in America.
See, when she read that to me, I went back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look this up, and I looked it up, Google it, and sure enough, bananas are the most consumed fresh fruit in America.
Well, I really think this story is really interesting for us as homesteaders because our goal is to eat what we produce. We will never be able to produce a crop of bananas.
What are you talking about? We can do that.
We'll have to see. We're not saying that we're going to do it because we haven't done it yet.
We haven't done it. We're trying it. We're going to try it this year.
But still, I am willing to speculate that our ability to grow a crop of bananas to actually feed us, right?
Well, it's going to be a treat when it comes in. I mean, if it comes in, it'll be a treat.
Okay, so if it does, it'll be a treat.
It'll make good video.
But but it's not going to be sustenance.
No.
It's not going to. It's going to.
We have venison and potatoes for that.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that the most eaten fresh fruit in America doesn't even grow here.
Yeah. It's all about imports.
That's my point. I just think that that's really interesting for us as homesteaders because we have to realize that when we are working to grow food that we're going to eat, we want to grow the things that we like, but we also have to realize that if we're going to be self-sustainable, there's going to be some things that we would have to let go of.
So this year, or a few months ago, about a month ago, I ordered 3 banana plants. I think they were called the California Gold variety. It withstands cold weather pretty well. They're growing them in Canada on the southwest corner of Canada because it doesn't get, if you didn't know anything about Canada, but the southwest corner of Canada doesn't get very cold. It gets a lot of rain, but it doesn't get as cold as Alberta, or other parts of Canada. So they grow banana plants in Canada in the southwest corner over there where it gets a lot of rain. And there's lots of people on YouTube that show how they do it and how they prepare the trees for preservation through the winter and all that stuff. And so I ordered three plants. One of them has died. The other one's not looking too well. The other one's looking, and then the last one's looking great, and it's growing. So I think I ordered them too early in the season. I'm going to order some more here pretty shortly, and I'm going to try to grow them because here's what I want to do. I'm ordering a variety to grow banana. I want to see if I can grow bananas here. Not only that, but I think the plants look really cool. I mean, it just provides an amazing look and landscape to have that beautiful banana tree.
It's funny because
she grew up with them.
I grew up with bananas.
She tells a story
of different varieties.
Hacking them to pieces.
And we had them growing wild in our backyard. No one planted them. They just grew wild. And so whenever you wanted bananas, you would go out and hack it wasn't the bunch. It was the, I forget what it's called.
They didn't look like that?
Yeah, they look like that. He's looking at the picture in the book, yeah.
And then we would but we cut them off when they were green, and so they weren't buggy. And then we'd bring them and hang them from our rafters on our back porch and cover them in a plastic bag.
Yeah, they do that in the farms. So you'll see if you go out to the banana farms, they've got the big plastic bags around the big clusters to keep the insects from getting them. So someone said in here that, they use lots of chemicals on them. Well, not all of them. If you cover them with the plastic bags, you don't have to use the chemicals to keep the worms off them. But because if you said you've had this experience before where if you don't cover them, they're full of worms.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was in Papua New Guinea.
So now people have said that bananas don't, because we want to grow these, but they say, well, real bananas don't look like the bananas they have in the store. But you said the bananas that you had grown in your backyard in the jungle looked like the ones in the store.
Yeah, they did. We also had...
Those were natural bananas.
Yeah, they were.
Growing in the wild.
There's a lot of different varieties. And Papua New Guinea, I don't even know. I mean, I want to say hundreds of different varieties. and some are short and squatty, some are long and thin. It just depends. But yeah, we had a lot that were like the ones we buy here.
So you'll have to go ahead and look at some of the videos on YouTube. You can grow some of these California varieties of bananas. The California Gold, what we ordered. Every winter, you're going to have to hack this thing basically down. All the branches are going to be you're going to have to hack them off. And then you're going to have to wrap the trunk in bubble wrap. And then put a cage around it all the way to the top and fill it with mulch. And hay and straw, wheat straw, things like that, and then cover all of that with a big black trash bag, plastic trash bag, and so you can, and then when all frost is gone, all danger of frost has passed, you can uncover it all and let it grow again, and it'll sprout new things, and it should have enough mass after about 2 years to produce a crop of bananas.
Cool.
So
I can't wait.
We're gonna try it. At the very least, I figure
I'm a little skeptical.
She's skeptical, but listen, guys. Even if it doesn't grow any bananas, it still looks cool. I just think the plant looks cool. Yeah. Having a banana tree out there out front.
It does. It would remind me of my growing up home.
I just think it'll be good landscaping. Mm-hmm. Cool. Anyway, so the reason I titled this Homestead Crop That Pays $10,000 per acre, that's what I titled the podcast as, has nothing to do with bananas. But it was an article, and you can find it in the description below. Because anytime we discuss an article, I post it in the description below. And I didn't post the banana articles in there because I didn't want to give away the trivia question before I asked the trivia question. And has anybody seen if Nuno Business responded to his win? Because I'm hoping it was because if he didn't respond, it was going to be somebody else named Daisy, I think. Anyway, let's see. Where was this at? I think it's. Let me find that article real quick. Hold on a second. I lost it. I had the browser crash. Here it is. Okay. So the forgotten homestead crop that can yield $10,000 per acre. I clicked on this. It's from Off Grid News. Check out their website every so often. You guys know that if you're in here. And it is popcorn. Popcorn sells for high dollar. People can sell it for high dollar. The colored popcorn. And $10,000 per acre. And it's pretty because people sell it for decoration, but it's also functional. People will pop it. I mean, I would pop that. Mm-hmm. We get colored corn from the Mennonite store in town on a regular basis, and I pop that all the time. And so I was...
But popcorn is so cheap. Like, could you grow enough of it to make it worth your while to actually be a crop?
Well, we don't have an acre we're going to plant, but I would plant enough that I could plant enough to take it to the... I don't know if I want to get involved with the whole... farmers market in town because there's just not enough people who participate to make it worth my while. But we could sell them online, the stalks online, and people send them in the mail. I don't know. I just think I would pop that because we cook enough of it, buying it from the Mennonites, that we could make our own. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking about doing... I don't know if Deep South, does your popcorn look like the one in the article? If Deep South can go over there and check out the article and see their colored corn in the article. I don't know what Deep South's popcorn looks like, but that would be, I don't know if he's selling seeds or not, but it may be worth, if you're interested, going over and buying some of the seeds for Deep South popcorn. But, here's the deal. The point was made back on Big Bear, because Big Bear was having internet trouble tonight. On their channel. And I guess he was talking about another YouTuber who was upset because people were giving him a hard time about how they make their money. And, I guess maybe some of it was YouTube money, whatever, I don't know. But, he made the point, Big Bear made the point, that there's no one way we make our money. On their homestead. And it's the same way with lots of homesteads. As a homestead, you basically find, half a dozen ways to One lost dude. Everyone's saying one lost dude.
What?
I'm looking at the. I need to stop looking at the chat room until it's time, because it's distracting me. But he's saying that there's a half a dozen ways. There's a dozen ways you make a living on a homestead. You sell livestock. You trade eggs. You sell seeds. You sell produce. And for me, we do a lot of those things, but we also work remotely. I work on the internet, and I make money doing website stuff. I mean, that was my career before I left the city. And so people still hire me to do that, from time to time. I have a couple of clients I'm always working on at any given time. But it's just, you get by however you can get by. You have a half a dozen jobs.
So what were they saying? Why were they accusing him of?
I don't know what the backstory was. Big Bear might be able to tell you. I don't know if he'll talk about it in the chat room later or not, or if he's even here.
It wasn't a homesteading activity that he was making his money on?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the background was, but he made the point that, as a homesteader, there's lots of ways you make money. You make money selling blackberries, or you make money selling pelts, or whatever,
Hey, if you can find a way to make a living and live where you want to live to be able to homestead, who says you have to actually make any money on your homestead?
Well, what do you mean? You got to have money to buy gas and things
I
like
mean,
that.
if he has a living to live, a way to live where he wants to live, I mean, there's no homestead police saying he has to make money on his homestead.
I know, but people, there are homestead police out there, and in the comment sections of our videos where, you're not doing homesteading the right way, the way we say homesteading ought to be done. People tell us that all the time. Or you're not gardening, your gardening method isn't true permaculture. And, whatever. My garden grows fantastic every year. And my tomatoes and my 100 jars of salsa are testimony of that, and that's sitting up in the pantry. So, my thing is, the point that Big Bear makes, and I totally agree, was you make do however you can make do on a homestead, because that's how you get by living on a homestead. I want to live on a homestead. I will make money doing whatever I can do on a homestead. I can do YouTube videos. I can sell seeds. I can grow blackberries. I can grow sorghum and sell it for $5 a jar. I'm going to do whatever I can do to maintain this lifestyle. And it's not about having one job. Some people might have one job, but if it takes, having half a dozen different temporary part-time jobs during the course of a year, that's what you do. Back in St. Louis when I learned how to trap, that guy, he made about $25,000 a year selling pelts. Mm-hmm. He did it. I mean, when trapping season was on, this guy who taught me, he was out there. Him and his neighbor, they were out there, hitting it hard, and they were pulling in as much fur as they possibly could, and it really supplemented their family's income. And it was only for a few months at a time that he did this, but he made like $25,000, a year, I think is what it was back then on putting up the fur. So.
Well, that's the thing, and Zach knows this already, but I'm just saying, I don't read the comments. I won't read the comments because, and when there's good ones directed towards me, Zach will read them to me, but I can't. I won't. I'm a woman and I'm sensitive and it hurts sometimes. And so I won't read the comments. And I think that when those that comment, it bothers me that when they comment, number one, maybe they don't know what they're talking about, but even if they do know what they're talking about, the same thing does not hold true for everyone. And also, I think that people should just not comment if they don't know what they're talking about, or if they haven't tried what they're talking about.
It's the old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And there's just people like that on our comments. And every YouTube channel knows that there's people out there like that, and they're going to be critical of you. And, and when I comment on different people's videos, I try myself to make sure I'm not saying anything too negative, or, I don't want, even if I give advice to someone, to come off negative, because it's maybe something I've had experience at, and I know something won't work, or didn't work for me at least. Maybe it works for you. Different things work for different people. But there are homestead police out there, and they like to. I have a few favorites. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a few favorites that I have out there. And it's weird because a couple of them I've tried to block off the channel, and they go away for a little while, but then all of a sudden it's like they're in timeout for a little bit, but then they come back and they're posting right back again, and I don't understand that. Like, how did they get out of YouTube jail? Because somehow I put them in YouTube jail and then they get out again. I don't get it. So, let's see. What was one of the other articles I had here? And we probably won't get to it because we're going to go to the chat room here in a few minutes. But it's, so there's, every once in a while I like to go to different blogs from the Homestead Bloggers Network. And they have really good articles you'll find from time to time. And I link to them on the front page of our website. And there's one from farmfitliving.com. And it's about the spring garden. And it's a great early spring planting guide for new beginner gardeners. So if you're new to gardens, if you've never grown a garden, or maybe it's your first or second year doing gardens, there's a link in the description below from farmfitliving.com. Gives a pretty good planting guide for home gardens. And even if if you're a veteran gardener, have been for years, you might learn something new. So check it out. It's the spring garden early planting guide. And I went over there, and it was pretty well written, and it's got some good photos there, and just give some ideas on some things that you start earlier than later, rather than later for certain plants. We're going to be doing some planting this week, I think, on some early planting, some of the cold weather stuff that we're going to be putting in the ground. But I know some people are planting full bore right now, and I'm like, dude, it's like it was 20 degrees last night. This is not the time to plant everything yet. So I think we've been kind of lulled into a sense of spring, with our 70 and 75 degree days. And I'm telling you guys, it ain't over yet. Calm down.
It's felt so nice that we're looking back at the calendar and remembering previous years and thinking, in February, we were setting out water to be frozen so that we could stick it in our cooler. And we haven't been able to do that at all this year.
Yeah.
And it's really horrible because we love winter for being able to freeze water to be able to use to keep in our cooler.
I love winter just to get a break from the bugs, man. The flies, they're going to come back. The peepers out there in the pond are already back. The frogs are back. I would just like one last hurrah, 6 feet of snow to come down. Just kidding.
Not 6 feet.
I like winter. That's all. I
like winter. I also like to have water coming out of my pump at the sink.
Yeah.
If it gets too cold, I don't get that.
Okay, so we're back in the chat room. It's about 15 till. We got about 15 minutes left. So what questions that you have? If you have questions, please post them in all caps. If we didn't, we literally, during the rest of the show, we really don't look at the chat room because it's distracting, and I'm trying to stay on message and on topic because there's a lot of things I want to get through before the show runs out. So the last 15 minutes, we turn it over to the chat room. Post your questions, all caps. If I miss your question or if I don't get to your question, please post it again. I will try to get to it. Have you tried predator? This is the first question from Mimo. Zach, have you tried predator nematodes for pest control? No, I have not. There's a place in the nearest city. There's an organic store in the nearest city, and I've gone there a couple times. I really enjoy going. I want to go back soon. I need to get some more rock dust. They sell them. I just haven't gone through. I just haven't bought them. It's on the list of things to do. So maybe I'll do that. Is the homestead renovations? I guess that's talking about.
Oh, done yet?
Are the homestead renovations done yet? Like which ones? Like yours?
Maybe they're talking about our living room. Yeah.
Yes. So.
Yeah, it is mostly done. There are some. People who know me know that my house is never done. So, but yes, it is done for now.
So we are going to be doing a video probably on that Thursday or Friday, I think.
I thought you were waiting for the camera.
Well, it should be here Wednesday.
Okay.
We're upgrading a camera. Really, what we're doing is upgrading our audio because we need better audio, folks. And people have been asking for that for months and months. And we're finally upgrading the audio, which is going to require a new camera because the 4K camera we have now just does not do very good audio at all, no matter what. So we'll do a video on that. Do you guys have rabbits on your homestead? I used to raise rabbits back in the city a long time ago. And
yeah, that was one of the first homesteading-ish
we learned
things.
homesteading before we homesteaded. So, no, I don't raise rabbits on the homestead. We don't eat rabbits. But we do. There are places where you can go find rabbit manure by the truckload and pay for it. I think it's to fill up your truck. It's going to cost you about $50 to fill up the back of your pickup truck. I mean, like a hill, full pickup truck full of rabbit poop, $50, and it'll be the best $50 you've ever spent. Some of us thought the cash crop was Mary Jane. Absolutely not. No, I think they've just passed a law in our state on growing marijuana or having marijuana medical centers for medicinal use and all this stuff. And they're making it so and we don't do marijuana here at all. I'm not a stoner. But they're making it only so people who are rich can never make money on that stuff already. You're going to pay off a bunch of politicians. You're going to pay a bunch of taxes. The regular Joe Schmo will never get rich for growing marijuana in this country. Just like you're not going to be able to grow or open your own distillery in this country without paying the government an arm and a leg and jumping through a bunch of hoops. So if you think that's going to happen to you, I'm sorry to open up the reality doors for you. Please remember to put all your comments. Okay, so that's Mr. Rain laying the smack down. What was the first thing you guys grew to get started? What's the first thing we grew? We grew...
You mean here or previously?
I don't know, ever. Tried tomatoes once when we were in Arnold.
Yeah.
Let's see. First thing we grew here. I mean, our first year we grew tons of stuff here. I mean, we went all out because I was studying Go for Green, not the Go for Green Living, but Growing Your Greens, John Kohler. I had a guy named Travis Huey from My Aqua Farm helping me out, giving me advice, and we went full bore. I had cabbages, tomatoes, peas. I mean, we went full bore and had a great crop our first year. And it was because of the rabbit poop, folks.
Yeah, it was cool.
We had a rabbit poop down, and man, that stuff will jumpstart any garden. Let's see. Update on coyotes. Don't have any updates on that. We'll probably try to. I'm still trying to kill my first coyote, guys. It's hard, man. I was out there calling the other day, and this week, and I wasn't even getting an answer back. So I don't know. Maybe I scared them all off. I don't have no idea. And the cow was out there mooing like crazy tonight. So I'm wondering if something else is going on. What are some homestead income ideas you want to try? What are some Well, the solar kiln for one, because that solar kiln is almost done. I could probably rent that out to other people looking, for other people sawmilling their own lumber for cabinet makers and other things, and renting out some space in my solar kiln because that thing will hold about 1,000 board foot of wood. And there's other people who cut wood around here. There's lots of sawmills. And someone can bring, in some cherry wood and say, hey, listen, I'll pay you a certain amount per board foot to put it in there for a month or 2 months. And so I could rent that out and get paid for my solar kiln. People, because I don't think I'm going to be able to cut enough wood to fill it up with, 1,000 board foot. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to put up a lot of wood in there, but it's only going to be in there for 30 days and it's coming out. I mean, it's a solar kiln. It's going to dry it pretty fast. So, what am I going to do the rest of the time? I'm going to have a lot of space in there, so I think I could rent it out and let other people who cut wood to sell to cabinet makers and specialty furniture manufacturers, things like that, who cut wood around here and give them space in it. Are you going to do more videos for the women's point of view, Jamie?
Well, I try to do as many videos as I can. The thing, I'll let you know how it works. Okay, so Zach is the videographer, and he also edits all the videos. So
he's usually got a list of things that he's doing throughout the day, and I have a list of things I'm doing throughout the day. And sometimes they coincide and sometimes they don't. So I have to kind of be really intentional about telling him, hey, I'm going to do this today. Do you want to video it? Sometimes he'll have time, sometimes he won't. But I like doing videos when I'm in the mood. When I'm not in the mood, it's really
ain't gonna happen.
It's really hard for me. I really am not a camera person. It's not my strength.
Like, we did a video the other day on the new kitchen pump, and it was a good video, but the problem was the audio levels were so bad we didn't put it out. So we're gonna re-record it, probably this week when the new audio equipment gets here, because it's really gonna help us on a lot of issues. When
I really want to be able to give more women that point of view. Like, I really think it's meaningful. If I was watching, it would be meaningful to me as a wife and a mother to hear that point of view. The thing is, when you're kind of in the trenches, you don't always really have time to say, oh yeah, I need to do a video about this today. Oh, I just did it, and now that ship has sailed. So it's a little, it's not really like you can just pull out the camera and go. It requires a little bit more time, and I try to do as many as I can and as many as I feel like doing, but Zach is the camera guy. He loves being in front of the camera. It's not something I love.
Okay, so None Your Business said to go ahead and give it to Daisy. He doesn't want the t-shirt. So there was someone, the second person I saw, I went back up and tried just now to check on the chat room to see what the name was, but all of those comments have been deleted. I guess the chat room only holds the comments for so long. So it was somebody named Daisy something. So if you're listening, Daisy, hopefully you are, please make a post so I know what your name is, or send me a message on YouTube so that I can get your address, because you were the second one to get the right answer. A kid guy, Homestead, says, hey, I was second. I thought it was Daisy. It was somebody named Daisy something or other. Daisy Homestead or Daisy South or whatever. I don't know. Daisy Girl. Yay. Daisy Girl 1975 was that was who it is. I saw it. All right, so I see it. So Daisy Girl 1975, please send me your address. Send me a message on YouTube with your address, and I'll get that in the mail to you ASAP. Well, maybe not ASAP, but
yeah,
when I get around to telling Tim your address.
We only go to town twice a week.
Sometimes I drop the ball around here. But yeah, send me a message on YouTube and I'll get that to you. Let's see. What was I going to say here? There was something else up here too. Have you thought about using wood chips for gasification to produce fuel and biochar? I saw a video, speaking of Growing Your Greens. Growing Your Greens did an excellent video on biochar about a year ago or 2 years ago, and he made some really good points. He says, it's not really all that necessary for certain things. There's people who make a lot more about biochar than they need to. And so after I saw that video, I just wasn't really sold on biochar. I think you can get the same amount of effect on your soil and what you're growing by just using wood ash, pure wood ash, and sprinkling that around instead of making actual biochar. There's some instances where I think John Kohler over at Growing Your Greens made the point of why biochar will help you better than wood ash, but for the most part, wood ash will do everything you need it to do. It's just... Anyway, you can go, if you just go Growing Your Greens, John Kohler, and biochar, you'll probably find the videos that he did. He was actually in Hawaii filming that video, I'm pretty sure, at a biochar production farm. So you can go check that out. Let's see. How many hours a day do you spend on sitting down traditional homeschooling?
It depends what
you think of as traditional homeschooling. I think different people would have a different definition. For us, I would say maybe about 3 hours for our oldest. My youngest is in preschool now, so I don't really spend too much with him, except for when he wants to at this point, learning his letters and letter sounds and things like that. But there's a lot of things my oldest does by himself. So he's learning computer programming by himself. He's learning Hebrew by himself. He does a computer program to learn Hebrew with Rosetta Stone. I still work with him pretty much every day on math, and we learn history together, and he does his science lessons on his own. So there's a good chunk of the day that is devoted to his schoolwork, but I am not sitting down with him 100% of that time.
Yeah, he's old enough now he can start doing a lot of stuff on his own.
My time devoted when I am not doing anything else is probably a little over an hour, but I'm always homeschooling because we're right there in the kitchen together.
How many tomato seeds do you plant in order to get enough plants to provide for your family? I usually plant at least 60 tomato plants a year, because I figure I plan on losing a third each year. So if I plant 60 and I lose 20, I still get 40 plants that provide enough for our family. And I usually don't lose 20 plants. I usually lose maybe 10.
We count on a big tomato crop.
Yeah, we want tomatoes because we do a lot of salsa. And salsa, feeds me through the winter, folks.
We love, love, love salsa. And
I'll have a jar a day.
Yeah, you would. But I think that too, tomatoes are one of those amazing fruits. Well, it technically is a fruit,
Yeah,
but
fruit.
It cans well. You know, when you're going to get tomato products at the store, you're gonna buy canned tomatoes, as well as tomato sauce and tomato paste and stewed tomatoes and salsa, and then any other canned tomato product. It just cans really well.
I've looked into gasification, Mimo, and there's a really cool video on YouTube that one day when I get the time, I'm going to build a contraption like this guy had. He basically powers a generator in his driveway with a gasification system. I'm going to do that at some point. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Somebody else asked if will sheep eat tobacco? Absolutely, yes. Sheep will eat tobacco. We've been feeding it to them for the last few weeks, and or a few months. A few months. And so they're eating the tobacco. We're going to grow some tobacco this year and do that as our as a way to, because we were, it was I can't think of their name now. Shalom Acres. Shalom Acres gives their sheep garlic and some other things. But you know what? Garlic around us is just too valuable. I'm not giving away my garlic to my sheep. They were saving their small garlic bulbs and cutting them up for their sheep. And I'm like, that's like, we could probably grow enough garlic. And this year I have a ton of garlic growing out there in the garden right now, but a lot more than we had last year. And I'm not giving it to my sheep.
Yeah.
And I love my garlic. So I'll give them the tobacco. Let's see. How much cotton are you planting? I don't know. I just have a few plants. So a neighbor came to me this year who grew them in his garden, and he said, "Zach, do you want some cotton seeds?" I said, "Yes, absolutely." And he said, "It's heirloom natural cotton, all natural. It's none of this crazy stuff out there they're doing today." And he gave me the seeds, and I'm going to grow maybe, 5-10 plants. And then every year I'm just going to grow 5 to 10 plants.
I think is crazy. Speaking of things to sell,
No.
I have seen the cotton stems with the raw cotton still in. I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about cotton, so if I'm not saying this right, but the raw cotton still in the hull or whatever it is, they're using that in home decor. So
You could sell that.
yeah, you could sell a whole stem of it, and people are just putting it in vases to use as home decor, and I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah. So that's an option for you. Another option to make money with selling cotton, just the branches, because people will use it for decoration. Hey, folks, that's about it for the show tonight. Check out the Big Bear Homestead. They're going to be doing their Insomnia Platoon tonight after our show. So head on over to Big Bear Homestead and see. I know they had internet troubles later, so hopefully they got all that figured out. But anyway, thanks for tuning in again this week. We love having you guys here, and we'll be back next week with an action-packed show for you again. See you next time on the Homestead.